I don't want to look older than I am, sweetheart. I'm trying to take years off. Today we are going to do my Holy Grail base makeup routine. So this is the base makeup that I put on when I just need something I can count on through thick and thin, through rain, hail, shine, wind, sweat, all of those things. This makeup isn't gonna move. It's not gonna move. It's not gonna let me down. So if that sounds interesting to you, then make sure you keep on watching. Let's do the YouTubey things. You can give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it around the socials, all of those amazing things. And now let's get started. With my makeup routine and my base makeup routine, just keep in mind I have combination skin, you know it, and it does swing from dry to oily. It really does. Like, it's a combo of things depending on what day of the month it is and what I've been doing. So just keep in mind that a lot of the time, the way that I like to do my base makeup is I want to put my makeup on and I want to set it and forget it, sister. I don't want to touch up through the day. I ain't got time for that, okay? When I am working, I am running from go to woe. So I don't have time to worry about touching my makeup up. I also don't have time to worry about what my makeup looks like. So I just need it to look good at the start of the day and look good by the end of the day. That's what this whole routine does for me. We all have different types. So what I'm gonna say is this is what works for me. Take kind of, I'm not a professional makeup artist, I'm self-taught, so just also keep that in mind. But if you see things in my routine, take things that you think might work for you and tweak them to suit you. So the way that I contour might not be the same as your face shape. The way that I conceal, you might not need that much concealer because you don't have pigmentation underneath your eyes like I do, that kind of a thing. So just whenever you watch anyone's makeup tutorials, you guys, take it and then tweak it to suit your face, your face shape, your skin type, all of those kinds of things. So just a couple of little keynotes from our TED Talk today. Let's start with primer. Now you all know, Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer, my all-time favorite primer. It's literally my all-time favorite. I love it so, so much. Sometimes I put it on with a brush, sometimes a sponge. I don't really use my hands just because I'm so fair. If I use my hands on my face, I go bright, bright red. So yeah. Now priming, by the way, guys, is not necessarily a step that you have to have, just in case you are like, God, that's like, this is starting to rack up with the makeup cost, or you're like, I just don't have time for all of these steps. I get that. Your skincare is more of a primer and the more necessary primer than anything else. If you don't have your skincare routine down pat, then your makeup, it's going to affect how your makeup looks. It really, really is. Skincare is so, so important. I don't really know enough about skincare to give you guys any advice on that. You need to go and find a skincare channel and learn about that on your own. It's not my specialty. However, skincare is more important than any of the makeup, if that kind of makes sense. Then with priming, it really is just going to depend on your skin. I never used to really use primers. I used to just find they didn't really do anything until I found this one and the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas. Those two are amazing in my opinion. I use the Tatcha one when I want something a little bit more hydrating and creamy, and I use this one pretty much every day, to be honest. Most days when I just want like this primer just makes the makeup grip, it makes it last longer, it creates like this really smooth base for my skin. It's flawless. It's flawless. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to necessarily prime. Potentially, if you have oily skin, you might want to get like a matte primer or something like that to just kind of, you know, control the oil. Now let's get on to foundation. There are two foundations that I am loving. This one is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro. This is my all-time favorite foundation. I love it. Love it. It's seen me through some things. It's seen some things. But at the moment, I am feeling super dry, especially because I've been trying to do these 3-look 1 palettes videos, all that kind of stuff. So I've been putting makeup on, washing it off, putting it on, washing it off, that kind of thing. My face is feeling haggard. So I'm actually going to take one of my new faves, which is the Zoeva Authentik Skin. It's just a little bit more dewy and a little bit more moisturizing on my skin. And right now, because of the situation, it needs it. I'm telling you. I like to put my foundation on with a sponge because I just find when I put it on with a brush, it just doesn't look as good. I really find with the sponge, it just melts into the skin. And basically, I just kind of pounce this all over the face, putting less coverage on areas that I don't really need a lot. So mainly this area, I actually surprisingly put less coverage in that area because a lot of my kind of unevenness comes from here, which is my acne scarring or like previous blemish scarring. And then I put quite a bit of concealer on, which you'll see because of my pigmentation. So because of that, the concealer is just naturally going to come down here regardless. So I don't want this area to look cakey, right? So I put more on where I need it, where the concealer is absolutely not going to go, and then less on in the areas where there will be concealer. Moving on to concealer. Now my Holy Grail concealer is definitely the Pat McGrath concealers. These are liquid gold, baby, liquid gold. Now I use the shades L4 and L2 because I don't have my perfect shade in pretty much any concealer, to be honest. And I like to just put a bit on here and then kind of do the lifty thing on the outer bit. I use more concealer than anyone really needs, you guys. I really do. And it is just because this is what I find works for my under eyes. I find that with my pigmentation, this is what I need to do. Otherwise, I just honestly look like I've been punched in the face, I swear. I really, really do. Okay, so now what I do is I take my sponge and I ever so lightly, feather light touches, my friends, feather light touches, just blend out this concealer. And by using a really light touch, it allows me to kind of keep the coverage with the concealer. See? And then I kind of start it out here first because that is where my pigmentation is. And then once that's kind of like blended on, that's when I go in, like I put some on my eyelid and I take the excess through my T-zone and do all of that kind of stuff to brighten it up. I don't really find I need to like put concealer here and here like some people do, just because I take the excess concealer from underneath my eyes. Okay, so our concealer is blended in. We are going to move on to the cream contour or bronzing step. Now, depending on what I'm doing for the day is going to depend on what product I use for this. If I'm going for a really everyday natural look, that's when I'll use something like a cream bronzer, like the Chanel Le Beige's bronzing cream, for example. But if I'm going for a more like structured look, or I want to look a bit more contoured, then I will use more of like a contour product, like the Huda Beauty Tantra or something. You know, I'm loving the Mario products at the moment. This is the sculpting stick. I love them. They're so good. I honestly cannot put them down. Now, if you struggle with contour placement or bronzing placement, I'm going to link 2 videos down below for you. One is from Alexandra O'Neill, and she did this amazing contour video, and it really, 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 really helped me understand kind of like where to place my contour. And one of the things that she talked about in it was if you take like this side of your finger and slide it up your face, you will like find this like hollow bit underneath your chin, and basically that's where you want to put your contour and keep it blended out to that section, especially for your cheekbones, obviously for your cheekbones. And then she talks about like different face shapes and like tailoring the contour to that, because for example, I have a forehead, as you know, I don't care about it, whatever, but I do. So I will put quite a lot of cream contour or bronzer on my forehead instead of saying my forehead, to kind of make it look a little bit smaller. But you might have a nice little petite forehead, and then you don't need to put anything up there, because except maybe like a kiss of bronzer, because you don't actually want to make your forehead look any smaller. You know what I'm saying? So again, tailor the makeup to your beautiful face shape. Choose your own adventure. And the other thing for bronzing, I'm going to link Andrea Ali she is the most phenomenal makeup artist. If you don't know who she is, go and follow her on here. She's phenomenal. She just put up a like bronzing video, and she explains like the different types of bronzers, why you want to use them, placement, all that kind of thing. And I highly recommend it. I highly recommend her. I want to be her when I grow up. She's fabulous. She's just fabulous. I love her so much. Anyway, go and follow her. Now, basically what you want to do with the cream contour, I've got my Real Techniques I've got my Real Techniques brush, and what I do is I kind of hold it on an angle like this so that it's like pushing upward. And for my cheeks, I literally just tap out the contour. And the reason why I hold it upward is because we want to lift, baby. We want a facelift. And if I kind of like push my brush down or even just center, it's going to drag the contour down, and I don't want that. I don't want to look older than I am, sweetheart. I'm trying to take years off. So by pushing the brush upward like that and tapping up, it's going to concentrate the contour where I need it to go. You also don't want to swipe, because then you're going to take off your foundation underneath, and we didn't work that hard putting the foundation on for it to come off, you know what I'm saying? Now for underneath the chin, and Alexandra O'Neill, again, she explains this so fabulously, so go and watch that video. But she talks about how you just want to like blend out underneath here, but not too much, because you really want to keep that dark shadow underneath there so that it gets rid of the double chin, hides the snacks that we've been eating. No one needs to know that information about us. So I just kind of blend this out softly underneath here. And then for the forehead, it's just a mixture of tapping and pushing the product back into my hairline. That's why I really like wearing a headband when I do my makeup, so that I can just like push it into my hairline. I mean, I'm brunette, so it's like a lot easier. If you were blonde, you wouldn't want to push it so far into your hairline. Know what I'm saying? Now, the next step and the next trick to this little part of the routine is to take your sponge and just very lightly tap over everything. This is just basically going to melt everything together and get rid of any harsh lines that you might have created. Next step is cream highlight. Now, again, you might be thinking, Jesus Christ, she's putting on a lot of products. So the thing that I have personally found, particularly with combination skin, is I work in thin layers. So what I like to do is put on thin layers of cream products, powder my face, and then put the same kind of face products on in thin layers with powder products. And I just find that it really sets all of my makeup in, it sets all of the steps in, and it just lasts all day and doesn't budge. So that's just what I find. I know makeup artists as well talk about, you know, working in thin layers. I guess that's probably where I got it from. But yeah, just a fun fact. Now, again, with your highlight, you just want to put this, so with contour, you want to create shadows, right? You want to create shadows so that you get some definition. With highlight, you want to bring the high points of your face forward and gleaming, baby. So I've just put the highlight here, and I'm just going to tap this out with my sponge, like so. And you can just see anywhere that the light's going to hit my face, it's going to create that beautiful gleam. I think a lot of the time we can get really confused with like all of the makeup tutorials that we watch, because makeup tutorials are freaking brilliant, but at the same time we really need to keep in mind that we might look completely different to the person that we're watching, particularly influencers. I'm just going to, while we're talking, I'm gonna set my under eyes. Now, the best under eye powder I personally find is the Pat McGrath under eye blurring powder. You can see I've hit pan, I'm pretty much all done. I've actually got another one on the way as we speak. So what I do is I take this Sigma tapered powder brush and I just lightly put this powder underneath my eyes and through my T-zone, and this is going to just create a really flawless filtered look. It's going to press all of the product into my skin and kind of set it all in so that when my T-zone gets oily throughout the day, it doesn't break up my makeup or look horrible. Oh, I just stabbed myself in the oil. I am going back to the previous point that I was talking about, you guys, but I'm just trying to keep this moving because it's gonna be a long video. Now, Kosas Cloud Set Powder, you know that that's what I'm using, and I'm taking my powder puff, and I mean, I always knew that makeup artists, I basically press this all over my face, by the way. I knew that makeup artists always used like powder puffs, and I'm sure there was a reason for it. I didn't really kind of know why. I've used one for a really long time for my face, and I just kind of found that like it set my makeup a lot better, and it would push the powder into my skin without making it look cakey or dry or anything like that. And then since watching Andrea Ali, sorry, I'm probably butchering how she pronounces her beautiful name because she's French. She really spent the time in one video to talk about how with the powder puff, if you put powder on with that, what it does is it really pushes the product into the skin, melts it into the skin with the other products that you use, and doesn't make your face look cakey. And I was like, no wonder. So I felt personally vindicated for like why I was using it, if that helps. But yeah, anyway, she talks about that. So we've just set the face. Now let's go on and bronze. So what I was talking about before, just quickly with the influencers, I think when we get caught up watching influencers do their makeup routines, and I guess if you want to call me an influencer, you can. But what you need to keep in mind is again, tailoring it to your face shape, because they might have completely different skin types to you. Like for ages I was watching them and I was baking because that's what Jaclyn Hill does, and I was like, my skin looks like absolute shit doing this. What am I doing wrong? Or I would buy all of the products that one of them would use and then do the same routine and it would not look the same. And I was like, why don't I look the same? It's because we're all different. We all have different face shapes, eye shapes, all that kind of stuff. Another thing to keep in mind is I don't think it's such a thing anymore, but when I first started doing makeup like 5 or 6 years ago, filters on YouTube videos was a huge thing, and it took me an embarrassingly long time to know that people put filters on their videos, because I had no idea that it was possible. And I was so annoyed when I found out, because I would berate myself for not looking like these influencers in their videos, and the whole time they had filters on their skin for the video, and I was just like, no wonder I don't fucking look like them, Jesus. So just keep in mind, like, even though this routine for me is like my holy grail, I think it makes me look flawless, I still look like I have skin, okay? I have pores. You can see I have this breakout here. It won't leave. It's in for the long haul. It has not signed a lease, but it won't leave. We're currently going through the eviction process. You know, you can still see imperfections through my skin. I look like I have some lines here. I have lines in my forehead, that kind of a thing. So just keep that in mind. Now I'm going to take my bronzer after all of that. I can't put this Mario one down. It's so beautiful, you guys. It's so good. I like to use a big fluffy brush. This is an e.l.f. powder brush. I just like to use this because I've already strategically contoured half the time. So for this, I'm just trying to add a wash of color to my face and a wash of bronze. Again, I'll link Andrea Ali's video down below. It's really going to explain it all for you, but you might want to use a more strategic brush than me. We are going to highlight now. Pat McGrath Golden Nectar. You know, I wasn't as fussed about this when I first got it. Now I just freaking love it. I'm taking this on a fluffy tapered blending brush or powder brush I should say, from BH Cosmetics. This is the Rose Quartz one. The reason why I use this one instead of something like, hold please, instead of something like say this kind of denser one from Linda Hallberg, is because I find when I use something a little bit more fluffier like this with the highlight, it goes on a lot more diffused on my skin and doesn't look textured and just like this clump of or strip of highlight here. It just looks a lot more natural. Again, pop this onto the places of your face that you want highlight, or the high points of the face. And I just like to bathe in highlight, to be completely honest with you, and I don't think I'll ever change because it just brings me joy. I also like to put it on my nose. Don't judge. If you don't like it, that's good for you, but I do. We are now taking cream blush. This is Dusty Rose from Makeup by Mario. Again, love it. Now I pick this up on my sponge like so, and then I really tap off the excess on the back of my hand, and then I will go in and place this. Now blush placement again, also just a quick side note, not all cream blushes will go over powder, so you want to just test that out like at your own caution. Generally if I'm using a cream blush, it will go well over powder because I always forget to put it on underneath my powder. So if I'm going to buy one, it has to go over the top. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, blush placement. I know a lot of people say smile and then say put it like the blush here, but when you stop smiling, see how your face drops, and then your blush is going to be down here. It's going to drag your face down. So again, just be mindful of your face shape. For me, I find putting it up here is going to be a bit nicer and kind of like, or at least the most concentrated part of it up here is better for me because it lifts my face up. I just find I have these little fat bits here that like bring my face down. I'm not mad at them, like whatever, it's my face, but I do. And I find if I put too much blush here, it just like brings it all down, you know what I'm saying? So again, tailor it, baby, tailor it. Now, what do we do when we put on a cream product? We set it with powder. Say it louder. We set it with powder. So, powder blush. I've lost my damn mind, I can assure you. Desert Rose Makeup by Mario. Again, she good. Now, this is a blush brush from BH Cosmetics. It's Marble Collection one. And I like it a lot for blush at the moment. And again, because I've already put cream on, I don't want to put too much on. So I'm just kind of lightly tapping that over. And this is where I will bring it across here a little bit, just to bring a little bit more color to my face, but not a lot. Just like I've been slightly sunburnt, you know? Okay, and now comes the really, really, really magical step. So this is the step that really brings it brings it all together. You know what I'm saying? It just finishes it all off, and that's setting spray. Now today I'm going to use my NYX Dewy setting spray just because my skin's feeling so dry, but normally I would use my Skindinavia Mask Knee setting spray because that's going to control like my breakouts. I really do find that works, by the way. Anyway, so I'm just going to give myself a spritz. A little spritz. And then what I do is I take my sponge, make sure you haven't got anything on it or like anything but foundation or whatever. And then when I say lightly, my friends, I mean lightly. Tap over your face. Just tap over. And then what this is going to do is it is going to melt everything in together like they are besties and they can't be apart. That's what this is going to do. It also, like, if your highlight in any way, shape or form has created texture on your face at all, this is going to completely take that texture away. I don't know if you can tell so much on camera, but it makes the highlight look like, and granted I have the liquids Charlotte Tilbury, but mainly I have the powder Pat McGrath. But because of that setting spray and then pushing it in lightly with the sponge, it makes it look like that Pat McGrath highlighter is now a liquid highlighter on my skin. See how it just looks so glowy and dewy and just perfection, in my opinion. That's what this step does. I did see that from a makeup artist at one point in time, but to be honest, I could not, it's been years, so I can't remember which makeup artist did that. Probably a lot of them. All right, I'm just gonna quickly go off camera, do my eye makeup and my lips and all that kind of stuff, and I will be right back. And this is the finished makeup look. This is my Holy Grail base routine finished with the eyes and everything. This eye look, by the way, is part of my three looks, one palette using the Divine Rose 2 palette. So that will be up before this, so I'll link it down below if you're interested and you haven't seen it. But yeah, that is my Holy Grail base routine. Like I said, it's gonna be a little bit different for everyone, but if you have similar skin to me, then maybe that will work for you if you're interested. Let me know, what's your Holy Grail kind of base products? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching until this point. If you are, I truly appreciate you so, so much. I hope that you have an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye. Maybe not that close. It's probably a bit offensive. You might want something super hydrating like the Bobbi Brown. We're gonna tap, tap, tap it in. I wanna go I get these like little hairs on my face. It's so annoying. Highlighter, it's my fave. Highlighter, it's my fave.